Greetings and shalom to those of you who are saints. Blessings abound to you. This is the day that Yahweh has made, and I shall rejoice and I shall be glad in it. Yahweh is gracious, and Yahweh is merciful. Yahweh is all-wise. He is considered the only true and living God. I appreciate the time you take to spend with me here, the months that you've been with me, and I'm certainly overjoyed to know that Yahweh's word continues to be preeminent, continues to dominate the landscape in reference to all that's transpiring before your eyes in this country, Guyana, South America. So I bid you all shalom, and will you please let me know whether you can hear and see clearly? And additionally, if you don't mind, please share the broadcast with someone who you know does not receive notifications for whatever reason. There are quite a few people who are not notified when I'm live. So please, if you don't mind, share this broadcast with them. As I said to you, and I'm grateful that Yahweh has graced me to do so, to say to this nation, to say to the saints in this nation, exactly what lies ahead of you. If you are a saint in the kingdom of heaven, you should not be surprised or appalled in any way or alarmed by what you're seeing unfolding before you. This is nothing less than Yahweh's word coming to pass right before your eyes. Yahweh is faithful. I can never thank him enough. Thank you so much for the feedback, Brother Mike. I cannot thank him enough for being as accurate, for being as clear as he has been regarding this nation. What I'm also rejoicing about is the fact that Yahweh caused, and I love him for this, Yahweh would have caused persons to say that somebody said they're not getting any sound. So please tell Nafisa Khan if she can leave the broadcast. Somebody type for me, please. I'm pretty far from my phone. If she can leave the broadcast and return, because she should be hearing me clearly by now. Most of you are hearing, so it has to be Nafis's link. Yahweh is so wise and he's so amazing in his doings that he allowed 4 years to go by. 4 years before he caused this prophecy given in 2016 by me to come to the fore. More than that, Yahweh would have caused many preachers, many church leaders within that time to deem me false and don't listen to that man, and he doesn't know what he's saying, and he's too political, and he's against the government and all the rest of it. Well, in his wisdom, Yahweh Almighty caused years to go by where they felt as if they have license to say everything they wanted to say. And now they are absolutely quiet. Somebody speaks in my camera, zoom, huh? The camera keeps doing in and out. I'm right here. I don't know why the camera is doing anything. I'm way far away from the phone. Yahweh has caused them to be silent because they are embarrassed. Good evening to you, my brother David. And they're ashamed and too proud, too wicked to remotely repent. This broadcast tonight is along the line of causing this nation to recognize, because some of you have not seen it yet, the depth of wickedness and corruption that is at the top of our society. When you have a nation that is as eager in many circles to endorse that which is glaringly fraudulent on somebody's part, When you have people who are eager to celebrate the results of fraudulent actions, it testifies to what Yahweh has said to me for years. And again, preacher said, don't listen to that man. And their followers, I call them their minions. Their minions got up and say, oh, don't listen to Nigel London. Well, we're here tonight for that reason. This nation, not the saints, and some of you cannot wrap your mind around that. When I speak to a nation being cursed, it is not saints, because saints are not of the nation. We are in the world, the scripture says, but you're not of the world. So we are in Guyana, but Philippians 3:20 says that we are citizens of the kingdom of heaven. You have to get it straight now. Tonight I'm going to seek by Yahweh's wisdom to bring some of you into absolute understanding, if I can, through his spirit. The saints in the kingdom of heaven, you need to know who you are. I don't know who you are. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. If you are a saint in the kingdom of heaven, you are called a citizen, Philippians 3:20, of the kingdom of heaven. Not a citizen of Guyana, not a citizen of America, of USA. Some of you are elated to be citizens of USA and happy to be citizens of Barbados or citizens of wherever you are. You are a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean? It means that you live among people. You gone? Give me that kiss. Night, baby.
Okay.
It means that you live among people. You live in a society. You live in a country, because Yahweh determines your boundaries according to the book of Acts. He determines dates, he determines boundaries, he determines exactly where you live. Omar, this is you, huh? Okay then. Well, you can comment from the phone, Omar. I'll see Elton knows you commenting. You may need to update your Facebook app, by the way. Now, Yahweh, in his wisdom, has positioned his saints in different parts of the world, because he said that he's going to choose from nations people to whom he'll give his name. That's scripture as well. When he would have done that, you can be living in a cursed nation. It doesn't mean you're a cursed person, because you are not of that nation. In other words, you're not governed by the actions, by the system of that nation. It doesn't influence you in reference to your conduct. You are guided by the principles of Yahweh's word. Hananiah, Azariah, and Micaiah, their name is not Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Good, Pastor Mel. They were given that name by their captors. The name given in Israel was Hananiah, Azariah, and Micaiah. And these three Hebrew young men, when they were put among the Babylonian people, they were certainly, great Pastor Mel, unwilling to function by the king's system. They said, we are not going to bow to your God. We're not going to do it. Do whatever you want to do, but we're not bowing to this God of yours. Why? Because we are in Babel. Babylon was not the name, but you can understand what I'm saying now. We are in this nation, but we're not of this nation. The policies of your nation that we should bow to your idol is not for us. When you are a saint, when you are in the kingdom of heaven, you do not subscribe to what is wicked. And you do not ever fall into the block or the lot of those who are cursed in a nation. No saint is ever cursed. I know your pastor been telling deliverance service that you have to break curse and curse. You cannot be a saint and be cursed. It is impossible for you to be saved by Yahweh and be cursed. He saves you from something. So he cannot save you with curses on your life. He saves you from those things. He pulls you out of those things. So you don't need deliverance when you're saved. You are delivered. To be saved means to be delivered. That's the words are synonymous. The words mean the same thing. When you are saved, you are delivered. If you are not delivered, you are not saved. And when you are saved, you are taken to a kingdom in the context of your mind and your spirit. You are not of the kingdom of men. Which is why, as a saint, I will never have my hand in any ink that I supported any party, because their policies do not govern my principles and the way I live my life. I live among men, but I'm not of the mind of those men. I would have said that to establish to you that Guyana is a cursed nation. And I dare you to contend with me on this broadcast or any other platform. If Guyana is blessed, tell me one blessed nation. And the only one in Scripture is Israel, no more. According to, I'm speaking to the church, by the way. I'm not speaking to heathens. I'm speaking to the church. Name for me one, just one nation, one that has ever been blessed and experienced what Guyana is experiencing now. Name one. Prophetess, good to see you, and shalom. And I'm happy that you're here. You have to understand, saints, what many of you consider to be a blessed nation is a nation with economic potential, because your mind is on money. Blessing is not about economic potential. Blessing is about everything. Barak is everything being in place. Nothing is broken. You have an empowerment to prosper in every area. There is no disquiet in a land that's blessed. There is no disease in a land that's blessed. There is no unrighteous, wicked behavior in a land that is blessed. You don't have corrupt leaders in a land that is blessed. A blessed nation is a nation that when Yahweh looks at it, he sees the entire structure of that nation as being whole in accordance with his principles. Guyana is cursed. Be as mad as you want. You are seeing the fruit of a corrupt society, with churches included. The churches in this country are corrupt. That's why they can't talk. That's why the leaders can't speak at this time, because they are corrupt. They are polluted. I have not issued my usual warning, so from now on people begin to be blocked. If you come on my page, this broadcast, this is my page. Now you could do it on your page. If you are on my page and you use profane language, some of you don't know what profane means, that's why you speak the way you do. And one is already here. If you use cuss words on my page, you're gone. You can call me what you want. Call me the devil, call me crazy, call me mad, say I support Apno AFC, I support Granger, say I'm a rigger. You can say all that. Because tonight is a night for pirates to come out of the cage. But if you come on my page and you say one word that's a cuss word, you're off. You're blocked. So enjoy yourself. Tonight is a night for parrots to get out, because many of you on the broadcast who parrots will say what your handlers have said and what your leaders say. And tonight is also a night for donkeys to come for grass. So you have to leave and come out the pasture, because you're typical donkey. A donkey is an extremely stupid person. So you're free to come and exhibit your stupidity on my page. No problem, but just watch your language now. Call me what you want, but watch your language. Great. This country, this nation, is extremely wicked. It's one thing when a nation has corruption in it at the level of the small man, as you put it, where somebody is stealing something from another person. Drug dealers are trying to sell drugs to people. That's a level of corruption. But in this nation, the level of corruption in Guyana is at the top of our societal strata. key groupings of people in this nation are extremely corrupt in their conduct. And the reason why they succeed at what they're doing is because they are people at a lower tier who are always eager to support their political leaders regardless of what they do. A cursed nation is the nation in which people do not mourn wickedness. Can you imagine that there are people who are entirely comfortable? Apostle George, good to see you. They are entirely comfortable with politicians, electoral officers, leaders of elections. I'm not talking about elections workers here anymore. I'm speaking to the upper tier of leadership at Guyana Elections Commission, the chairman, the commissioners, and the chief election officer. 3 sets of people: the chairman, the commissioners, the 6 of them, and the chief election officer. You have got to be an absolute moral retard to not observe in this country the depth of wickedness and corruption that is coming before your eyes at that level. And the reason why I'm happy that parrots are here, because you just repeat what your leaders say. I call them your handlers. They control you like a puppet. And why I'm happy that donkeys are here is because I would not ask you the question. What I will do is I'll ask the questions of your leaders so that you can be the donkey to answer when your leaders will never answer. So I'm telling you, donkeys who are already here, and I see already you from the PPP camp. Normally you're the ones who come on my page. When you're here, I'll tell you exactly what happened to you tonight. I will ask the question that your leaders, that the GCOM chairman, the commissioners of GCOM, the CEO, your party leaders will never answer. But you, the parrots, and you, the donkeys, will answer for them. And the reason why they will not answer is because they know that if they ever dare take the risk to answer what I say, and none of them have done it for months, they will find themselves in a serious situation. What is that situation? They know with all their heart that I have been saying this from the beginning of this foolishness. And we'll speak to the CCJ and all that tonight. That Guyana is in trouble. Why is this country in trouble? Because you have leaders who know the law, but leaders who are very comfortable with you being ignorant. But there's been an upgrade recently. And the upgrade is that you now have leaders in this country who no longer have a problem with your ignorance because they give you an upgrade. And the upgrade is you are now knowledgeable but still eager to allow laws to be broken. Now that's when you find yourself in serious trouble. It's one thing for you to be ignorant and just celebrate because you're ignorant. But now that the laws are being consistently thrown in the face of Guyanese people, the 2 sides have got APNU AFC, PPP Civic. You are jumping and celebrating, and I must also include the neophyte parties, these newcomers, because they're parrots too. And you're celebrating the fact that people know the law, people tell you the law, and both of you break it or support it being broken. We have a society of people who have been cultured for years to be dishonest and unlawful. So this is no big thing for you. This country began to run in a manner in which if you need to have a house lot, If you need to have a house lot, they tell you that it's one house lot per family. Per family. The Central Housing and Planning Authority will tell you one house lot per family. You can't have more than one. But because somebody knows somebody who knows somebody, and somebody has money, they are able to have 4 house lots in different parts of the country. And somebody who has some more money than the person can have 5, 6, 7 house lots. And it's not a problem. The worst thing is you can have ministers in government, both sides, who have got multiple house lots. Do you get that? So our country was cultured into functioning in a manner in which it is not about the law. It was all about the lawless thriving, although laws are present. And then the lawless people were appointed to serve in government offices. And they began to thrive in lawlessness. So when you have a society in which everything was about a bribe and pass some money here and pass some money there, and if your family's in trouble, give some money to this person and they could pay the police to drop the case and lose the file. This country was thriving in lawlessness. What do you think will happen after a while? What do you expect to happen after a while in this? Guyana is reaping the fruit of years of corruption. She's reaping a harvest of years of corruption. And the reason why I'm not blocking some people, I told you, as long as they don't use obscene language on my page, you're free to talk. If you can follow my lead, I'm ignoring them. So just follow my lead while you're on my page. They're non-existent. I'm sure that none of you, when you walk in the street and you see a donkey eating grass, you don't stop and say to the donkey, why are you eating grass? Why don't move from here? Why you have to do that? Where's your owner? You don't do that. I mean, unless you're abnormal. So when the donkeys are on my page, let them just come and eat some grass. You have to talk to them. Let the donkeys come on the page and let them have a moment. If a parrot is in a cage, I have a parrot. I don't conduct conversations with the parrot. So as I was saying, when you've got a society in which persons thrive on what is unlawful, and persons are eager to benefit, even in political circles, from unlawful practices, what do you expect to happen in a society? Elections 2020 is a culmination of years, decades of lawlessness. Further, election 2020 is the beginning, and I want you to hear me clearly, of years of woe for Guyana. This country shall mourn severely. And I said it to you in March or April, regardless of who wins these elections, Guyana loses, because you will suffer for years. She's put my Bluetooth on. Let her turn off, please, because this disaster is about to strike. For years, For years, this country has had persons who were deemed successful based on corrupt practices. You've got political leaders, I say to you, political leaders who were some of the most, or are some of the most corrupt people in our society. So we'll speak tonight to some of the fruit that you have to reap. This country is unprepared, and I'm speaking to the political side of the country, and I'm speaking to the spiritual side, the church folk, are unprepared to be led by anything righteous. I repeat, this nation is unprepared to be led by what is right. And whenever a nation rebels and resists what is right, destruction is inevitable. I shall therefore, and not too extensively, because I need to bring to some of your remembrance some of the things I've said to you. From the second week of March, when Mingo made the declaration, and that cycle of insanity began, I said that there is a crisis awaiting Guyana. And the crisis awaits you because the law of this country, some of it is 40 years old probably, since 1980 Constitution. I said you are looking for fire because you've got a law that has passed through so many hands. So many cycles of leadership. And the law is here to guide this country regarding electoral processes. You have, in 2000, updated to some extent the law regarding elections and amended it to certain degrees. In 2020, laws that sat in your offices, that sat in certain key areas in the courts, in parliament and everywhere else, these legally binding articles to help this country govern itself in terms of elections, in 2020 were all tossed out. Whenever it didn't suit somebody, forget about the law. Do what I want, or I'll cry to Massa. And Massa says, do what we say, or else. And you began to have leaders in this country who, because of their natural tendency to be corrupt, they began to walk away from that which was binding for all these years. And you expect, I said to you all, and some of you can recall, I said this country is in trouble because there is no way that you can have the law that was there for decades to guide you. And suddenly, 3 commissioners from PPP Civic, 3 from APNU AFC, and a chairman from wherever planet she's from, decide that they are capable of framing now a new law to accommodate an illegal process. I said to this country, and I dare want you to say I didn't say it, that you are looking for trouble. I said to the president, because I know that he has people who follow me and talk to him, from right here, you are looking for trouble. You cannot abandon what has been there for decades to guide you and entrust 6 people to suddenly write new laws called an order to guide a process, and you expect it to go well? When by nature you've seen that those people do not take positions of law, they take positions of political affiliation. I'm speaking to the GCOM commissioners here. The 3 from Abdul AFC, the 3 from PPP Civic have already decided that they are going to stand by their party, not principle. And you trust them to make laws for you, called an order that was gazetted. So it became law. It's now publicly noted. This is what will guide the recount. The recount. I said to the president, the worst thing that you can ever do is to venture into any area that has no law to protect you. Because you're finished. It is over. Of course. Of course. Because there was an agenda, and I say it again to you, this nation, some of you don't understand, that March the 2nd was never, and it may sound strange to you, but I explain what I'm saying to you. March the 2nd was never Guyana's election day. Take your time. And I know a donkey won't understand what I'm saying to you, but the wise one will get my point. March the 2nd was not Guyana's election day. Guyana's election was determined long before March the 2nd. There are people in this country and out of this country who had already made a decision in their mind that David Granger will not be president of this country, regardless of what numbers are presented. The persons who made the decision that Irfan Ali would not be president, regardless of what happens. So when you have 2 sets of people who are hell-bent on ensuring that this one doesn't lead and this one doesn't lead, what happens to the nation? You went to dip your finger in ink because, like Phyllis Jordan tell you all, your vote must count. Which one count? Because you don't know which one of your vote was thrown out. So which one counted? March the 2nd had nothing to do with who would be president. March the 2nd had to do with a manifestation of a plan as to whom would succeed in a corrupt environment. Guyana is walking under a cloud of prophesied confusion. And if you don't understand it, you live to see it. This country is under a cloud of prophesied confusion. You cannot, because your pastors, some of you, and your prophet and your apostle and your general bishop and all them would have told you, don't listen to Nigel London. Well, sadly, I want you to tell me what I said that was wrong till now. And say what aspect of the prophecy, and it's the reason I'm asking the question, is yet to be fulfilled. Because the part that's yet to be fulfilled will be fulfilled as soon as Claudette Singh says, this person is the president. I promise you, listen to the prophecy again, I'll post it maybe in a link. As soon as there is an announcement and the chancellor of the judiciary, before she even gets a chance probably to swear in anybody, you shall see the other phase of the prophecy kicking in this country. This country, Guyana, South America, your sin, your wickedness, your corruption from your leaders has gone up to Yahweh, and because he sent a voice of righteousness to talk to your leaders and they didn't listen, you will reap a harvest if you're wicked. That all them will benefit, all them will benefit from in the context that they were going to suffer. This nation has no peaceful outcome ahead of you. Because the fruit of corruption has no peace attached to it. Your pastors could spin on their head. They could put a head in 45-gallon oil drum with engine oil, because olive oil don't work for some of them. So choose engine oil and swim in the engine oil in the barrel. When you get out back, there will be no peace in this country, because the fruit of corruption is not peace. The fruit of corruption is always always disquiet. There is no peaceful solution for Guyana. Corrupt minds never know peace. I repeat, corrupt minds never know peace. When you have got leaders who seek to sit in high places, earn massive taxpayers' money, and then turn around and lie to your faces, deceive you deliberately, and you are not concerned about it, you are going to reap the harvest of theirs. Don't ask me for any solution, madam. There's no solution here. I don't mind if you're asking as innocent as ever. I'm not here to present a solution to you. I'm here to present information to you. You could figure out a solution. There's no solution here. There's a declaration being made to you, and you could look at it and see what happens in the future. There's no peace for Guyana. None. This nation will have nothing called peace. And once a leader is announced to you, he will say, okay, now it's time for us to heal and for us to build a nation. It will not happen. Because the political jargon is not going to work whenever a declaration is made. If it's made. I said to you that there's going to be a situation in this country in which if the president, and by now he hears what I say because I tell you the people who I know speak to him. If the president does not seek to abide wholeheartedly by that which is lawful and nothing else, there will be serious consequences in terms of confusion in this country. So they went into the matter. Guess what happened? I said to you before anything called a gazetted order was arrived, that I said to this country that you're going to find a situation in which, because these 6 commissioners, the chairman, want to draft law called an order to govern the recount, I said to you, as is always the case, whenever you have a situation in which you go away from the law, you have to try to make up laws as you go along the path. Now, the laws to guide you here. Whenever you see you go away from those laws, you'll have to try to make up laws as you go along. Because you're no longer guided by law. You're guided by what comes, we try to fix. Now you have got a clear-cut case in which an order was documented. The order was drafted, the order was gazetted, the order was made public. The order stated plainly that the recount was for a reason. Okay. When I said, and when other people said, but there's no law for this. I think Vincent Alexander is one who said it, and I give credit where it's due. Corbyn said it. Trotman said it. Says Gunraj, Bibi Shadiq, Robertson Bench said nothing. But the 3 APNLC commissioners said there is no law for anything called a recount. So we're extra constitution here. We don't have a constitution that helps you here. Some smart person said, oh, there's a law in the Constitution, though. Then says Gunraj, after the recount now began, he said, oh, there's a law. Article 20, I think he cited, said the law is that GCOM has the power or the authority to use whatever means necessary or it deems necessary to bring resolution to an issue. Oh, okay. So let me just pause here so that some parrots could come out again and pick at some seed. And donkeys can have some grass. If PPP Civic, and this is not about my supporting anybody, I'm in with you because you want to talk on their behalf. If the PPP Civic commissioner said that Guyana Election Commission has the power or the authority according to Article 20 of the Constitution, to seek to bring resolution or to make laws in context or to make orders to bring resolution to electoral crises. Wait, they had a recount. Based on that, they said. For what purpose? Was there not a crisis? Was there not complaint, or were there not complaints about fraud and massive fraud? Good. If there were such complaints, and GCOM said they have the power to make certain orders to bring solutions in electoral crises, when they discover that there were major discrepancies, irregularities, and all they want to call it, why? Why then? Why then can the chairman of GCOM seek to backpedal on an order that she signed to and drafted? Why? What was the resolution that GCOM was seeking in the order? To just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? That was never what the order said. Never. And the fact that the Caribbean Court of Justice judges could agree that an order that was based on the Constitution, according to GCOM, that gives them the power to bring solutions or resolution to a crisis is inconsequential. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. That tells me about the extent of corruption that is in this country. My next point. The first one is that wherever there's corruption, there's no peace. The second point is corrupt people never have honest intentions. On either side, corrupt people never have honest intentions. The fruit of corruption is never an honest outcome. Stop fooling yourselves. Or stop allowing yourselves to be fooled, I should say. There was never an honest outcome in this. And I said it, I dare one, you said I didn't say it. You see, I don't have an issue with that. I could tell you straight to your face, I dare you to tell me I didn't say this. I said to you that this recount foolishness is never going to go according to the order. What will happen is, as long as somebody sees they've won, they say, okay, we've won. Forget about the rest of it. I don't care about corruption. I don't care about fraud. I don't care. My numbers are higher than yours. I've won. I told you that's exactly what will happen, and that's exactly what is happening. Because Yahweh doesn't lie. A corrupt mind has no intention to have an honest outcome. Never. Corrupt people don't deal with honesty. They deal with desire, not honesty. A corrupt person says, okay, this is what I want. I will pretend to be honest, and as long as what I want is in my hand, you could forget about any arrangement. That's corruption. They do not have honest intentions. An honest person has honest intentions. An honest person says, we are going to have an arrangement in which if ever we discover something is fraudulent, then we agree that this has to be dealt with as fraudulent. A corrupt person says, yes, I agree with you. But the minute they say that they are benefiting more, they say, forget about it. I don't care. I don't care about all that. Let's just go ahead with this result. That's the function of corruption. The functioning of a corrupt mind. You do not negotiate with corrupt people. Point number 3. Never negotiate with corrupt people. Corrupt people do not negotiate. They navigate to get what they want. I repeat, corrupt people do not negotiate. They navigate to get what they want. And our president cannot figure that out by now. Corrupt people do not negotiate. They navigate like a snake to get what they want. And here are innocent people, some of them are, who are ignorant. And others are knowledgeable but wicked. I repeat, corrupt people do not negotiate. They navigate to get what they want. As long as they get what they want, you can forget about anything called an agreement. I do not negotiate with corrupt people, including preachers. I don't care what church you're from. I don't mind what bishop you call, what general bishop you are, what right reverend, doctor, honorable, most high, gracious father, doctor, bishop, lawyer you are. If you are corrupt as a preacher, I will never negotiate with you because I know your mind already. You're a snake. You're cunning. You're conniving. You're a trickster. And what you're seeing in this election, you've seen it in the church already if you've been in church before. There are people in the church who will set you up to get what you have. And once they get it, they don't want to entertain you anymore. They'll prophesy into your pocket. And once they get into your pocket, you can't talk to them after church. Because they're corrupt minds. They don't ever negotiate. They navigate until they get what they want. This country is a corrupt environment, a corrupt society. They don't function by principles. How can you have a president who agreed that with the no confidence garbage, what he said it, whatever the result of the no confidence motion is, I accept. Okay, so the no confidence motion was what? 33 to 32. Oh, somebody goes to the High Court. Why? If you said that you accept something, accept it. Suddenly you have a mathematician arising in the country. The great mathematical mind. You have half a man, a quarter man, and all kinds of nonsensical garbage, utter nonsense, fecal matter. And corrupt mind said, oh wow, we have a loophole here. We are going to run with this 34 to 31 garbage because you can't have half a man, you have to round up. How do you round up a person? You run with it because it suited your political agenda. And the president who said he's prepared to accept whatever the outcome of the no confidence motion was, didn't accept it. They went to the High Court. The High Court ruled. He said, I'm prepared to accept. I'm prepared to accept whatever the Chief Justice says because I'm prepared to accept the law. The Chief Justice said, well, hold on. 33 is greater than 32. I thought we knew that all the time. What happened? They didn't accept it either. So why must I have a leader who keeps saying, I'm prepared to accept process 1. When process 1 fails, I'm prepared to accept step 2. When step 2 fails, appellate court. I'm prepared to accept step 3. Then the other party says, no. We're going to CCJ. When it hits CCJ, I'm prepared to accept what CCJ says. So hold on. What about your first word, sir? Your first word is that you were prepared to accept whatever happened in Parliament. Integrity has nothing to do with one's tone or their style. Point number 4, I think, by now. Integrity has, because some of you, this is an honest, upright, let me help you. Integrity has nothing to do with one's tone of voice or their style. Hell, I'm prepared. No, it doesn't work like that. Integrity is when you say something and you live by what you said. So don't come to me with all this talk about, I'm prepared to accept. You're not prepared to accept anything. Because if you're prepared to accept it, you will accept it. You will not seek to have some other agent run ahead and say, I'm going to the court. Because what you need to understand is, Guyana has a principle that I've seen becoming a trend, whereby the political leaders on one side, they're not running to the court. Somebody always has a cause to go to the court on behalf of something because they're a concerned citizen. Garbage. Nonsense. Because the Queen of England never held any slave in a ship. But she's accountable for it happening. The Queen of Spain, Isabel and Ferdinand, the king, never held any slave and captured them in the bush. But they're responsible for it. Don't tell me that if somebody acts on your behalf, you're not responsible. The culture of corruption is major in this country. It's ingrained in so many people. Can we trust your word? No. I will never trust your word because you're not trustworthy. And some of you are prepared to give your life for people who have no integrity whatsoever. They lack substance in terms of character. The culture of this country is all about, at the top level, what can I acquire at the hand and on the back of those who support me blindly. That's the culture of Guyana. What can I gain? That's a politician's mind. What can I benefit while making the small man feel as if I like him? I will and I do not ever trust somebody who tells me they're prepared to accept anything, and when that thing comes before them, they want to go to something else. I don't trust you. I don't mind what office you hold. I will never trust you. So I would have said that because of this recount business that you entered into, you will have a situation in which anyone who has got more numbers will run out and say, I have won. And I said it, that if it is the APNU AFC that would have had 15,000 votes more than PPP Civic, they wouldn't have been crying about fraud by anything. That's the absolute truth. They would have been saying, the numbers spoke for itself. We've won. Swear us in. So why is it that when the shoe is on another foot, you have a problem? If you are in a position in which, and the Chief Justice says something that is extremely pertinent, and many Guyanese miss it because they have, of course, political agendas. But her statement with Chandas Prasad rang a bell in my head that was huge. She asked the president and others, directly and indirectly. She said to them, hold on, since you want to talk about dual citizenship, all these years you spent in Parliament, 3 years. You didn't know that Chandas was dual citizen? He sat on your side. He served on your side. He was in your meetings. He was with all of y'all in your group. Why is it that when he voted against you, his citizenship becomes an issue? She said to them, would you have brought this matter to me regarding his dual citizenship if he had said yes for you or said no for you? If he had voted in favor of you in a no confidence motion, would you have come to me to complain that Chandas is dual citizen? And of course, Bassey Williams can't answer the question because he knows the answer. It was actually a rhetorical question. What amazed me is, out of Chandas being exposed to be a dual citizen, how many other from the PPP Civic and APNU AFC were sitting in Parliament taking our taxpayers' money while they were dual citizens, which is an unlawful act. I saw a comment that I don't think I should ignore because this is worthy of serious rebuke. You are stirring up strife. This is Holy Vessel. Holy Vessel. They don't have a name. And when you see the people that kind of handle on Facebook, they're dangerous. Holy Vessel. You are stirring up strife around this time when Guyana is going through a tough crisis. You should have been praying to God to make a difference in Guyana. Pray to who? What? When? You're one of those corrupt minds I'm talking about. You holy vessel. You one of the same typical Jesus followers who's wicked. Equally wicked as your political leaders. Listen to you. I am speaking to matters in which people are not following the law and you see them stirring up strife. That is how evil your mind is. And you had to come so that I can always prove Yahweh's word to be true. So don't tell me I should be praying for anybody. I don't pray for corrupt nation. You pray for them. I don't pray for corrupt nation. I pray for the leader of a nation. I pray for those in authority, including the opposition leader. You can't do that. I do not pray for David Granger alone. I pray for the leaders of the country, which includes everybody who sits in parliament to make a decision. You can't. You either for people up near FC. This country is not in any crisis that I must pray for them. They are wicked. And if the nation is wicked, then it shall reap the reward of a wicked people. Don't ask me to pray for anybody. You pray. Because your prayers didn't work. You want me to help you out now? Jesus failed you all since March. Since before March. COVID-19, Jesus failed. COVID-20, which is Guyana election, he's still failing. COVID-21, he'll fail again. Because after they announced the president into COVID-21. Still fail. And I'm telling you that our leaders are not following the law and you have a problem. You call that stirring up strife. You are wicked. You are evil. You all keep hollering for Jesus. Keep praying. Yeshua isn't involved in this. You keep praying to Jesus because since March he couldn't answer you. We're in July. And like Elijah told the prophets, Eliyahu is his name, he told the prophets to bail, he said, holler some more. Maybe he's sleeping. So wake him up, tap him and say, hold on, man. COVID-19 embarrasses because COVID is still here. And it was supposed to end in March of 27, according to TB Joshua, your prophet. And it's still here. You are wicked. That's why you cannot stand what I'm saying to you. You call this stirring up strife? Highlighting wickedness in leadership is strife? So we have a case in which the judge, the chief justice said, would you complain to me if you had won the no confidence motion? Would you say the child has to do a citizen? No. So you would have, she said, you were willing to have a dual citizen vote in favor of you. But you're not willing to have a dual citizen vote in opposition to you? Well, forget it. And she was right. Because, of course, you have 28 days in which you can prove somebody is by law. 28 days is the window of time. You have to say somebody is wrong. He's unduly elected to the House. He has to leave the Parliament. You didn't do that. You took 3 years to come to me to have a dual citizen. Little did we know that on the PPP side, you got dual citizens sitting in there too, hanging out. Taking our money, eating food and drinking liquor during Parliament break with our taxpayers' money. These people have no conscience. I'm telling you, you have corruption at the top. Ashanti Morris said, be careful what you say, but Jesus is failing you. It's a European construct that has no power. The only power it has is to deceive. Nothing else. I'll not be careful now, Jesus. Jesus was made up by European people. It's an absolute fact. You, Jesus people, said the COVID-19 will end in Jesus' name. By March, what happened? We're in July. You said that COVID-19 will not come to your country in Jesus' name. What happened? The whole world is dealing with it in the greater part. You said in Guyana that Jesus will cause Guyana to win by a landslide in March. We're in July. Jesus is one of the months of the year, huh? I do not respect lies. If you're on my page, get off if you can't take it. But I don't play with that. I am never respectful of a lie. And Jesus is a lie. Nobody called that name in 2,000 years ago because English did not exist 2,000 years ago. So what's your point? I don't respect lying. Michael Holden was almost right the other day when he was crying the cricketer. He cried. He couldn't believe. He said, look, man, let's deal with it. Of course, he got the name wrong. But he said, come on, even the Jesus image that was given to us is white. And we know that nobody called Jesus as a savior could be white then in the Middle East. He said it. And he's not a preacher. He said, I'm not a Christian like that. But please, the very purpose of this image is to deceive you. So I have no caution with dealing with liars. When you have got political leaders who are corrupted, they will always corrupt the wider society. And the only persons who are rescued from that corruption are saints and upright individuals in context of moral uprightness. Good night, Kev. Good to see you. That's all right, you're here. When you have got a corrupt leader and corrupt leadership, they will always corrupt the wider society. They will. Saints in the kingdom are programmed. Hear me carefully. A saint in the kingdom of heaven is programmed to follow righteousness, to follow truth, to abide by truth, to be so consumed by it that they can't handle anything else. Amai, you remember the blowing one? How he blew. What happened? He blew COVID into July and August, September, because we'll be here all year, by the way. I'm asking you, if GCOM had the power, as they said, to make law, or in context to make orders, is a better term to use, so that they can bring resolution when they have issues in election. I'm asking you, please, tell me, what was the purpose of the recount? Just to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? The order never said that. The order in the recount was very clear. It was absolutely clear. This is not about APNU AFC, this is about what the order said. Claudette Singh, as the chairman of GCOM, has the authority, along with the commissioners, to make orders or issue orders by which people must be governed in reference to this recount. They did it. Apostle Stevenson making international news. Man, we all over the world right now. This never happened in any country in the world. Guyana is making history, and I'm glad. Because on the 1st of March, I said it publicly, it's on my Facebook page. You will never see this again. You've never seen it before. I said it on the first day of March, before anybody went out to vote. What you're about to see tomorrow, being the 2nd, you have never seen this before. You will never see it again. I said you'll tell your children, you'll tell your grandchildren, you'll tell your great-grandchildren about the results on the 2nd of March. We're in July. And yet your pastor says I'm false. Your pastor says I'm false, don't listen to me. But we're in July now. Have you ever seen this happen? The CCJ, Caribbean Court of Justice president, said he's never seen this. He said he's never had such a case before him, ever, in any part of the world has it ever happened. But I'm false, though. I praise Yahweh. I praise Yahweh that I can sit back and laugh at the wicked while they get mad. So you have an occasion in which a group of leaders of the Guyana Elections Commission formulated an order that everybody must follow, a series of orders. When you get to the end of the process, Claudette Singh says, don't worry about that. Don't worry about all the order says. We have no power to rule. So why you made the order then? This is not about supporting any party. I'm asking the puppets. You see the puppets already gone to sleep now. Parrots sleep early. When plays get dark, they're going to sleep. I am asking you to tell me what is the purpose of the order that was given. So Holy Vessel said, I'm causing people to blaspheme. Blaspheme what? You don't blaspheme a false name. So Holy Vessel you ignored. You too ignored for me to entertain you. And I wouldn't. Claudette Singh, the chairman of GCOM, the Guyana Election Commission, waited until a recount, and I'm winding down now. She waited until a recount, until the recount is finished, because she said nothing about any electoral petition in context in the order. When everything is done in terms of recount, when Claudette Singh said, after they were alarms raised, and rightfully so, person said, we don't have any statutory documents in these boxes. We don't want to deal with these boxes have trouble. She said, no, just count them, it's okay. We deal with that at the meeting. When that was finished, this woman had the nerve to say now she has no power to rule those matters. You deceived people. You didn't deceive your commissioners, you deceived the country. And Claudette Singh then said that the party who is deemed the loser, which obviously is PNC, you have a right to file a petition and have all your issues brought up then. Is that what you said in the order? No. Corruption across the board. What is interesting to me, and I said before, is that Claudette Singh never once said in March 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, all the way to March 31st, Claudette Singh never once gave the impression that she knew about something called an election petition. Never. The chairman of this whole process never once in March said that she knows the law, Article 84, which says you have a right to file a petition if you have a problem with elections. Claudette Singh never said that in March. How she discovered this in June? She didn't say it in April. She said nothing like this in May. When the recount started, she didn't say anything about any petition. That, listen, we don't have to go through all of this. We simply have to make a rule. Whatever happens, the High Court could decide. Claudette Singh never said that. And I said it, that listen here, there is a problem because at the head of GCOM, the commissioners and the chairman, they have no intention of speaking the truth to people in this country. I said it. They intend to have their will and their way foisted on the people. They don't want to speak the truth. So what, in essence, did the CCJ wind up doing? And to me, I will laugh. And I laugh so y'all could get mad. Who want to die for your party? Get as mad as you want. Because I told you about this since March. The CCJ now says, listen here, man. Given all this order you brought to us from the order that GCOM drafted and made law, well, of course you have to follow it and obey it. Given what you present to me about recount and all the rest of it, guess what the CCJ said to them? Go back to the law, to your constitution. This is a joke. I laugh because it makes me happy to see what you preachers will tell me now. Because remember I was false, right? Don't forget that. Remember you said I'm false and you shouldn't listen to me. Remember you said I was crazy, right? Good. Don't forget that I said to you since March, anything you call in a recount is a waste of time. Because the Constitution is too clear. There's nothing called a national recount in the Constitution. Nothing. There's no part of the Constitution that says you can have a recount of anything without a court, being the High Court, giving such an order. Not a suggestion. Get mad because you're wicked. I said it to you from March. Don't do this. You're looking for trouble. What did the CCJ tell them? The CCJ said, forget about your order, man. Get it out, because your order can never supersede the Constitution. And you have an Attorney General. Why do we have an Attorney General in this country? Tell me, please. Why? Maybe you should start paying me his money then. Maybe you should start paying me his salary because he doesn't deserve it. This is beyond laughable. And I laugh at Yahweh's wisdom because Yahweh said there'll be major confusion. Imagine this. You leave the law, enter a recount, make some law or order for a recount. When the recount is finished, go back to the law that you left. And you don't see that as confusion? You do not see that as Yahweh's word coming to pass to absolute perfection? Well, be mad all you want. I will rejoice. I shall rejoice. You could grieve that Guyana is in trouble and Guyana is now whatever. I will laugh. Why do we have an Attorney General? This is too easy to figure out. I have never been to law school per se. I had to do 2 years of law courses. And now I'm beginning to understand why Justice Bishop, deceased, and Peter Britton would have said to me, I need to really enter the law faculty and sit and study law. Because what I see coming out of here is an absolute waste of time. This is too simple for an Attorney General not to get it. The Constitution cannot be, you cannot have anything that is more robust than the Constitution. So suddenly GCOM decide at their commission's level, we'll draft an order. And this order shall guide us, guide you. The CCJ said, no order is guiding you anywhere. Go back to the Constitution. Go back to where you declare the winner. And when you declare who's won, then you file a petition, the loser, if you want. Anybody could file a petition. Isn't that what I told you all? How did our president then venture into something called a recount? He doesn't know the law either. The law doesn't speak to anything called a recount. The law does not. The Constitution of Guyana does not speak to anything called a national recount because you have a problem. It doesn't say that. You don't agree to anything in the Constitution. The Constitution is plain. Article 163 is clear as day. You have a problem with the process, write to the court. File to the court because you want to have relief. You agree at the election process. I've been telling you all that from March. Now look what the CCJ tell you. This, I am laughing again because the Attorney General is receiving a salary. Now I'm talking to you for free. You don't pay me anything. You don't even pay me attention. You get mad at me, call me all kinds of names. Fine. And I'm still giving you advice and say, don't do this. You're looking for trouble. You wind your way up to the CCJ. And the CCJ tells you, in a most undemocratic, unceremonious, insulting manner, get back to your Constitution and stop with your garbage about Article 60. Imagine that's what Guyana has been brought to. Imagine that our leaders have caused us to get to this place where at the CCJ level, these xenophobes could insult your nation and say, listen man, you have to be joking. Y'all must be kidding. The CCJ is saying you have to be crazy to come and tell me about Order 60? Of Order 60? That GCOM chairman and her 6 commissioners wrote? When you have a constitution that's more than 30 years old? You come to me about Order 60? That is what our leaders have brought us to. International embarrassment. This is a disgrace. And I said it to you for free. I don't want to listen. So my statement to you tonight as I depart is you can continue to contend with my voice. Because Yahweh sends messengers. I don't know why he chose me to be the messenger in this case. I don't have an issue with it. You have a problem with it. But if Yahweh chooses any vessel to talk, I listen. That's my policy. If Yahweh sends my child to talk to me, I listen. I don't play with that. I don't care who you are. Yeshua brought a child to the disciples and said, you see this child right here? If I send this child to you, and you do not receive the child, you don't receive me, you don't receive the one who sent me. He said, if you receive this child, this little child, you receive me, and you receive the one who sent me. The principle is you never despise a messenger. But you hate me because you hate righteousness. So I'm telling you, I'm issuing a challenge tonight. I'm challenging any political leader or the agent to continue to fight me, and you will see exactly what happens to this country. I prophesy to you as a nation, there is no peace on your agenda. None. So stop fooling yourselves. Peace is not your portion in this country. Peace would have come if you repented from the top down. You haven't. There's no peace for you. You're reaping the harvest of a corrupt society and corrupt leadership. There's no peace for you. None. The righteous shall have shalom. The wicked shall have none. And since we have leaders in this country whose feelings are easily hurt, we have leaders in this country who, if you speak like me, like a man, they're so hurt that they can't talk to me because they're too hurt. I don't want a conversation with you. I'm not speaking because I want to help anybody. I'm speaking because as a vessel of Yahweh, I'm speaking so that judgment will be sure. Don't get confused here. I'm speaking because he's instructed me to expose the wickedness in this land. It is wicked. It is defiled. It is evil. You will not have any peace. You'll be in an unstable environment and there shall be fear. I told you in April, you shall be led by fear. If Granger wins, if Finale wins, which is Jaguar by the way, you will have no peace. You shall be led in constant fear. You are afraid of what comes your way. Your harvest is ripe, Guyana, and you cannot escape it. You preachers who think you have back on the pulpit and oh yeah, Jesus told me, you in for it too. You're not going to escape this. You are too corrupt at the top. Claudette Singh needs to be brought before a court of a law for her to give a reason for her not addressing the law in March. And now she's trying her best to tell Lowenfield, go ahead Lowenfield, submit a report. I will ask again for parrot or donkey as I leave here tonight. I want a parrot or a donkey to answer because the parrots and the donkeys are out, but the party they went to sleep. Yahweh, Connie Alstrom, Yahweh is the only true and living God. Yahweh is Yahweh, his name, the God of the Hebrew people, the God of the church of Yeshua the Messiah. He's Yahweh. He doesn't have any other name. I'll ask of you, parrot or donkey? If, as you said, in your chattering with your nonsense, that Claudette Singh doesn't have to listen to Lowenfield, she doesn't have to get any report from Lowenfield, why does she keep insisting that he gives her a report? It should have been by 2 o'clock today. Now it's by 11 o'clock tomorrow. Why? Which will be July 11th. Why? Why does she want it? And by the way, 11 speaks to judgment and disorder. So just watch it. Pay attention. Why? Why does Claudette Singh insist on Lowenfield giving her the report? I thought you people said from the PPP camp that she doesn't have to do that. She don't have to rely on him. Well, you meet as commissioners and have a report without law and field giving it to you. Try it. Since y'all could break every law, break that one too, man. Go ahead, since you're in a law-breaking cycle, just go ahead and forget about law and field. And you just get your numbers together and give yourself a report and then declaring it. Why? If she doesn't have to rely on law and field's advice, why she keep asking for a report? Would you tell me? Somebody answer from the PPP camp, please, or APNI FC camp, or TNN camp, or PLP camp, because you all got all kinds of names here. Whatever camp you're from, answer that. If she doesn't have to rely on law and field, why is she asking him continuously for a report? Do you think that Claudette Singh could go to the Chancellor of the Judiciary and tell the Chancellor that she's here with her report because law and field doesn't want to listen to her? So please swear in a president based on her report. Let them try it. Let the commissioners of GCOM sit and write their own report and have their own numbers and give to the Chancellor and say swearing a president based on that. Since you don't have to listen to law and field. And since law and field's position is not in any way constitutionalized, you go ahead, man. Since it's not constitutional, you go ahead and say forget about law and field. We could make our own report. Do that, please. And let us as Guyanese see how brave you are. When the law of this country was written, it was too clear to miss. And the power of a chief election officer wasn't anything to play with. And you're going to learn now. I told you 2 weeks ago, I said the returning officers are critical to the whole electoral process. I said it to you about 2 weeks ago. I said, if you don't want to listen to me, fine. But the returning officers have so much power in their hand on election day that they could tell you straight, we are not giving you any recount. Forget it. And you can't tell them you have to get anything called a recount. I said to this nation that returning officers are the ones who determine who is okay to be in the room or permitted. Everybody doesn't have to be there. The law says whomever the returning officer sees fit to witness what is called the the abstaining of votes, he determines that. Nobody else could do that. I told you all, you're going into a recount without returning officers. I told you, the law is clear. Returning officers govern the recount. You write an order and say Mingo wouldn't be there. This wouldn't be there. So you put out all 10 of your returning officers. And Claudette and the crew had a recount without returning officers. Well, according to the law, you have to have declarations from returning officers. Let Claudette Singh sort that one out, please. Because I was crazy when I told you all the recount was illegal. So let me see how you're going to fix it. Because the Caribbean Court of Justice said, go back to the law. What does the law say? Returning officers present to the CEO their declarations or their numbers. From that, the CEO presents his report to GCOM chairman. The chairman meets with the commissioners. Then they submit that information to the Chancellor of Judiciary. The Chancellor then swears in the President. That's the order according to the Constitution. CCJ said go back to the Constitution. You had a whole recount, Madam Claudette Singh, without any returning officer because you bad like that. But let me see which, if the CCJ threw out your order, they have to throw out your votes too. From that whole process. You can't throw out the order and hold on to the vote. Prophesied confusion. You can't even catch yourself. And you wouldn't catch yourself either because you're wicked in many places. You are evil. You are corrupted in many schemes, in many environments. Now let me see how you can fix this, because if you got rid of all 10 returning officers and all 10 deputy returning officers, let me see how. Where the donkeys are? I ain't seen them coming out tonight. Let me see how you can fix that. Because the law says that the returning officers give again, the declarations are made. 10 declarations have to be made in every district. Then that information goes to the CEO, who has to make a declaration from those 10 declarations. And he gives it to, or have a report from the declarations. He submits that to the chairman. I repeat, because some people don't get me too clearly at the beginning. The chairman then feeds that information to the Chancellor of the Judiciary. I'm asking you that since you put out Mingo and all the rest of them from from the Arthur Convention Center, and you had no returning officer. You tell me if the CJJ say go back to Constitution, where you find returning officers from now to go back to again? You want them to go back up? You want to carry them back to Arthur Chunk to say no, come here outside off and listen to me, please? Claudia Singh, you're in serious trouble. Claudia Singh is in more trouble than she can even imagine because she never obeyed the law in March. She escaped the ambit of law in March, and now it's back to bite her. And she wants to put on Lowenfield. Lowenfield's the right man. In the context where he said, no, you tell me what to do, because the law is clear for me. I cannot make a declaration without citing the returning officers. And if you abandon returning officers and headed to a recount, what do you think will happen? Guyana, these people have played games with us all along. I'm not hearing any donkey answering. I guess you're going to bed, huh? Where are the donkeys and parrots? Y'all gone to sleep? They vanished from my page? Took you a while. You will learn. So with that, I hope you've seen and you continue to see the fruit of corruption in this country. Now, of course, you will say that I support APNO FC, or all I said to you before, doesn't matter. So you can say I support who I want. You can say I support PPP Civic, you can say I support TNM, RNM, FNM, whatever. It is irrelevant. What I want you to deal with, is the law. Because I will always support the law of my country as long as the law of my country is upright. And the law regarding elections in Guyana are very clear and upright. Those who have responsibility to ensure that that law is carried out are corrupt. The law is not corrupt. There's nothing wrong with the law. The agents who have the authority to have the law executed are the ones who corrupt it, and you shall be dealt with. I bid you all shalom, saints, and I thank you so much for your time. May blessings abound to you, the saints. May you not have any disquiet at this time. I pray that Yahweh will give you shalom and will keep you in his shalom. Do not lose focus of Yahweh in this process. He preserves the righteous. Yahweh preserves the righteous. Blessings abound to you. Shalom. Bye-bye. Lucky's asking a question. I have to go, Lucky. Can a state of emergency be called? Not yet. It can only be called if there's no outcome of the election. And our president, I don't know if he has the power to call in a state of emergency. I doubt he would try that. My mother just spoke to me. Thank you so much, Mommy. Thank you. Oh, that's my mommy and daddy spoke together. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Bye, saints. Do well. All right? Thank you. See you all on Sunday, Yahweh willing, at 2 o'clock. By his grace we'll gather. If he wants me to speak to you before then we shall. Rest well. Bye-bye.